Meeting of the Amherst Township Trustees called to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Abraham?
Here.
Lynch?
Here.
Euring?
Yes.
And Kish is present. I have the Amherst Township meeting minutes from March 12th, 2024 of the regular meeting of the Amherst Township Trustees. The meeting was called to order at 7:02 p.m. by Lynch with a pledge to the flag. Roll call, Abraham, Lynch, Euring, and Kish were present. Also in attendance, M. Marasco, G. Lynch, L. Ashley, K. Smarsh, T. Oster, J. Evanson, and C. Evanson. 3/1/24, a motion by Euring, seconded by Abraham, to approve the February 27, 2024 regular meeting minutes as presented. Lynch and Euring were ayes, Abraham abstained. 3/2/24, a motion by Euring, seconded by Lynch, move to approve the financial reports and payment of items on the payment listing as presented with reservations. All ayes. 3/3/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Euring, move to approve permanent annual appropriation measure for 2024 per Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.38, all ayes. There were no audience concerns. Under correspondence, paperwork has been filed on parcel number 05000640000054 for property tax exemption and remission. Has to go to the auditor and treasurer, and we will get a ruling back. Trustee Lynch has asked Trustee Euring to fill out the form provided for the credit/reduction for the stormwater fee for parcel number 05000560000017 and 05000640000054. Lorraine County Public Health District Advisory Committee meeting, 6 p.m. Thursday, March 28, 2024 at New Russia Township Lodge. Under reports for ambulance, board meeting of the Sandstone Ambulance District will be on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024 at the Amherst Fire Station. Under zoning, Zoning Inspector D'Ambrosio was absent. Trustee Lynch brought forth a resolution for an MOU for 3 model homes in 4 seasons at Sandstone Subdivision. 3/4/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Abraham, for authorization to enter in a memorandum of understanding for construction of 3 model homes in the 4 seasons at Sandstone Subdivision. Roll call, Lynch and Abraham were ayes, Euring was a no. Trustee Lynch went over a drawing of the Sandstone development and noted that when created, there was a settlement agreement for a Sandstone development park and recreation fee for the single-family units, both east and west, as well as the multifamily Redwood units. He presented a zoning permit that can be used for the township park and fees that will be collected for this assessment. This also will need to be kept separate by the fiscal officer. A separate fund cannot be created for this type of account, but an account number under the general fund can be created with its own cost center so the dollars can be tracked on the revenue side and expense side. Trustee Lynch also noted on March 5th, the Zoning Commission did approve the final site plan review for the Giant Eagle Get-Go Market at State Route 58 Northridge Road. Giant Eagle has been very accommodating with all requests made for landscaping and such from several parties. They also agreed to the addition of a fire hydrant and a fence the mayor of Amherst requested for privacy for residents. They are also going to eventually install electric vehicle charging stations at a later date. A car wash is planned for the future as well. They are looking for full access to State Route 58 and they're looking for a letter of support to ODOT to allow this. There is a possibility they could walk if they do not get this, which will leave the parcels harder to sell. Road, Park, and Cemetery. Road Superintendent Smarsh reported everything is running smooth, completed 300 feet of sewer jetting. They are working on potholes and regular township maintenance, working on the trail lights at the workshop players. 3/5/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Euring, authorization to bid Middle Ridge Road TR-32 resurfacing project from Brownhelm Township line to existing pavement joint at Quarry Road, all ayes. 3/6/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Euring, authorization to bid Moss Canyon concrete replacement project, 242 full width roadway res 843-851, all ayes. Trustee Lynch also brought up the Golden Acres property outline and discussed a public park potential for a 20-acre parcel. Number 0500042106-020, immediately to the east of the Get-Go Cafe and Market that is owned by the Lorraine County Port Authority. An additional 10.76 contiguous acres is owned by the Lorraine County Metro Parks. Parcel number 05000421040092 and 05000421048087. 1.16 acre owned by the Board of Commissioners, 05000431011012, approximately 3 acres owned by the City of Amherst, 05000431011013, and approximately 10 acres owned by the Lorraine County Port Authority on Dewey, 05000421060109 and 050004210618. The Amherst Township Trustees would like the Lorraine County Metro Parks to take ownership of this 20-acre parcel and surrounding parcels or some portion for the benefit of the local communities, preserving the sledding hill and adding walking/biking lane trails. Trustee Lynch was looking for support from the trustees and various community leaders. Township Administrator Senior Services. Township Administrator noted that Morgan and herself have been working on several grants, working with Sam on various spreadsheets for the zoning department, outlining steps for zoning process so it will start with zoning and end with zoning, and reviewing the CDL licensing policy and making sure it is compliant. Also working on addresses for Redwood. Under complaints, they are being handled by the designated individual. Trustee Uhrig noted that he was able to meet with Nick Katasaris from First Energy, and they were able to look at the light poles in question. Several of the poles in question are in residents' backyards and are very difficult to access. Their recommendation would be to install new street lights in the road right-of-way, making access easier, but it could cause appearance issues. Under new business, the Solid Waste Policy Committee met today, and the final approval from the EPA was received. The next Policy Committee meeting will be May 14th, 2024. Lorraine County Beautiful Day is May 18th, 2024. The next regularly scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, March 26th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Amherst Township Hall. 3/7/24, a motion by Lynch, seconded by Abraham, to adjourn at 8:33 p.m. All ayes.
Are there any changes or corrections to the March 12th meeting minutes? If none, then I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Uhrig?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Okay, then I have the financials in front of, or you should have the financials in front of you, starting with the payment listing. Everything is pretty normal for the month. I also have our expenditures year to date are $251,414.84, and our year to date revenue is $616,313.23, which reflects the first half property taxes that we received this week for $411,796.59.
That's the first one you've received by ACH now.
Yes,
How
and
nice.
I jumped the gun on saying that it
Gas
looked like we were
tax.
getting all of them because I started getting these emails showing me that we had a remittance, and so I'm checking the bank account and it's not in the bank account. Then why am I getting this notice? So I talked with Tim. That's their eventual plan, is that they will get to that point, but they can't manipulate the system to not send that email, even if you're still going to get a hard check. So
Okay.
it's just going to have to be a watch of things right now. But I did want to note that our tax collection for the first half was down from last year, not due to the amount collected, or I'm sorry, not due to the amount that we received, but it was the amount collected was less. So there are, I'm sure because of the economy, some payments weren't made. So it was $21,958.54 less than our first half last year. But it was due to collections, not due to anything else.
Thanks, Chris. Well, hopefully some of those can be caught up and it's not where, businesses or homes have been lost. Because I don't think, Sam, you haven't seen, it's not like when we had the last recession between 2008 and 2009.
No.
It'll show up more in the summer when we see the yards that aren't being taken care of.
Great.
All right, there any questions then on the finance reports and the payment listing?
I have no questions.
If not, I'm going to make a motion that we pay the bills and approve the financial reports as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes.
What's the number on that, Chris?
That is 3924. And then you also have the February 2024 credit card transaction detail. All transactions, I have receipts for everything. Everything was accounted for.
Okay.
3, what?
39.
39,
Was for the financials.
24.
And I'm going to make a motion that the credit card account transaction detail has been reviewed per policy, and the card statement is accepted as presented, subject to investigation.
Second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Urick?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
That'll be 310, Danny.
That's 31024, yes. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone that's present. If anyone has anything to bring before the board, please raise your hand. Okay, yes, sir. And if you just come up to the mic, either on the table or up at the podium, give your name and address and what your topic is.
Good evening. My name is Cliff Bemis. I reside at 268 English Lakes Boulevard, and I am on the Board of Trustees at Workshop Players. I know I've spoken with Trustees Lynch and Urick and Mr. Smarsh over here, so I know the names, but now I'm able to put a face with them.
Can we?
Yeah, it's nice to see you again. So I have a few questions here. This is the very first trustee meeting I've ever attended in my entire life. And so if I ask things that are not appropriate, please just shut me down. But I've also been an actor for over 55 years. I got my start at Workshop Players way back over 60 years ago with when Valerie Jenkins started that whole thing. This is the 75th anniversary of Workshop Players, and they have been in continuous business for all those 75 years, except for the 18 months of COVID, which practically shut the thing down. They were about to down to $20 in their account. So they're back. My career took me to Los Angeles for 23 years, doing a lot of work in Hollywood and movies, films, commercials. Then I went to New York. I was on Broadway, and now I find myself back where I was born in Amherst, Ohio, and involved with Workshop Players again. I'm on the committee that helps with the buildings and the grounds there at Workshop Players. And I know that I've spoken with you about the lights, and I've spoken with Kevin about the lights that go from the soccer field parking lot up to the theater. We have an older audience, and when the show's let out at night, originally there were only a couple of lights that were working, and I think you have more of them working now. And then I believe Kevin said that there was a grant that had been approved. And so we have a board meeting next week, and they're asking me to give an update as to what the status is of those lights. We don't have another show until May now, so there is time. But I was curious if there was an update and time frame on those lights being.
Kevin, you want to discuss what the status is with Butchko, who is the contractor putting the new lights in?
Yeah, I need to contact back with Butchko and get down to the bottom line of it. I was waiting for them to come in. You know how things have been happening, how long things have been taking to come in. But I would think with the information that I was given the last time I talked, which was 2 weeks ago, that it was about a week away from them receiving, and then it was probably a week and a half. He had said that it would be till where they could replace the heads on those lights there for that. So it's got to be real close here. But I'll contact him tomorrow. Then I'll give you a call and give you the complete update on it. And then on the larger lights for the parking lot, I did contact Ohio Edison. They were supposed to take care of those as well, but one that I talked to, it said that it could take up to 5 days for them just to get to the light, and then depending on the trouble of it,
Right.
then if they had to, if it was obviously a quick fix, they do it right there and then.
Right.
But if there was something else that needed to be done, order parts, whatever, a little bit more involved with it, it could take longer. So as a matter of fact, tonight I was going to check to see if,
I'm actually heading over there too after the meeting to see as well.
yeah, so I'll contact tomorrow as in Butchko and I'll give you the complete update.
Great, thank you very much.
So you just one clip, you're hoping the lights are there before your next show because, it turned out more than what we thought originally. We thought, oh, we can just replace some bulbs and call it a day, and it's beyond
It's not
that.
as simple as that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
Okay, so a contractor's been secured, the money's been appropriated.
Mhm.
Now it's just waiting for the contractor to get in to get the work done.
Great, great. Well, everybody's been terrific to work with, I must say. So I really appreciate everybody's involvement in that. I have a question here also about, we're not quite sure if there were a medical emergency at the theater, who responds to that if it were a medical emergency? I thought that Amherst Police actually, that was their jurisdiction. Then I found out it's actually the Sheriff's Department. So, because we asked for some patrol after the shows come down as well, particularly down in that parking lot, because it's a little bit further away from the theater. And we have had a little bit of vandalism at the theater, so we're in the process of getting some cameras and things installed there. But who would respond if there were a medical emergency? Do you-
For a medical emergency, you would have Life Care Ambulance and the Amherst Fire Department.
That would be Amherst Fire Department.
Correct,
Okay.
and that's through a contractual arrangement. So with the fire department, that's a contract between the township and the city of Amherst. For Life Care Ambulance, we actually have an ambulance district with the city of Amherst, Amherst Township, and the village of South Amherst. And so we all share that cost.
Okay.
And the cost is based on the number of runs they make in each community, so it's proportioned out.
Okay.
But that's who would come in. Typically, you'll probably see the sheriff show up also with any of those to help with traffic control and being where you're located. You might have State Highway Patrol show up also.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the reason I was asking is, but we've always kind of had a fire lane there that we try and have. As you know, it's a unique parking situation there because everybody's jammed in and nobody can go anywhere until the first cars leave.
Right.
But we try and leave a fire lane there. And there is some debate about where it should actually be. So I thought, well, probably the best thing would be to call the agency that would respond and ask them where they think the best place is for the fire lane. And we would mark it off with orange cones, which brings me to my next question. Does the township get any kind of special price on cones? Is that something we could do through the township, or we just go to Home Depot or order them online? We would need about 6 cones, and so I don't know if you have anything that's available that we can purchase through the trustees or not.
I don't know on nonprofits like that. I mean, it's not like we can buy it through the township.
Right.
We could certainly tell you who we get them from, but that's not something where
Okay.
we can jointly get together. There is for joint purchasing among political entities, such as we've just had with a new truck we're getting, is we work through the state with the state bid, and then we've got a fire vehicle. We're using Sourcewell, which is several different states in a cooperative purchasing agreement. And but there's nothing that I'm aware of where it ties the public entity to another nonprofit or private entity.
Okay, all right. We'll just take care of it on our own then.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the fire lane, many times we have a fire prevention officer, Chris Nyhart, who would be the one that can give you the direction as far as the location of the fire lane.
Okay.
And you don't have his card, do you, Kevin?
Not on me.
And he's with,
I turned off.
He's with Amherst Fire Department?
Yes, and I've turned off my phone, Cliff, but when I get it back on, I know I got your number. If
Yeah.
it's a cell number, I will email it or text his contact information.
Oh, that'd
to
be
you.
great. That'd be great.
Okay, and then you can reach him directly.
Okay, very
Okay.
cool. Thank you. And the very last quick thing, we're in the process, hopefully, of buying the building, mainly because the Amherst School Board has decided they don't want it anymore. We've been leasing it for $1 a year for probably 75 years. All the expenses are ours, but they are wanting to not own that building any longer. So we'll probably try and have some type of a capital campaign. Are you aware of any kinds of grants that might be available where we can look for help to buy our building? I don't know. I know it may not be your department at all, but just curious if there
For
are
a
places to look.
nonprofit, there's all sorts of them, but locally, you might start with the Nord Family Foundation and the Nordson Foundation. But there are all sorts of them out there. The Community Foundation of Lorraine County.
Community Foundation?
Of Lorraine County.
Okay. Great. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you listening.
Okay, anyone else? All right, we'll move on then. Correspondence, just a reminder again, Lorraine County Public Health District Advisory Committee will be meeting at 6 o'clock on March 28th at New Russia Township Hall. Also, in your packet, I just wanted to make sure that the trustees have been keeping up with the status of an ongoing investigation by Ohio Senate Select Committee on housing. And this has been going on almost a better part of a year. There's plenty of videos out there of testimony because they've been meeting around the state. One of the best ones is when Heidi Fote, the executive director of the OTA, testified. But essentially what it is some in the building industry are lobbying to eliminate the township's right to enact zoning. They're looking at whether they can do this with a statewide zoning code. They give multiple reasons, but the main focus of this Ohio Senate Select Committee is that, housing cost is way up there too high, and somehow the reason has come down to is because of township zoning. There's no effort to take zoning away from municipalities or any other jurisdiction. The target is on townships. And that's probably because that's where the vast majority of inexpensive land is available for building. This is something I think we should definitely be contacting our reps, so State Rep Joe Miller, Nathan Manning, and currently, until the next election, Dick Stein, and Senator Gail Manning, to let them know your position on this, because obviously we don't want to give up the local determination of how our community is going to develop and give that to some bureaucrat down at the state level. I think that you'll find, and we've actually seen the history, that you're better to make those decisions local, and locally it's probably a little bit more difficult to get some of the financial influences that tend to go to people once you're down at the state. You see quite a few of them now are probably wearing striped suits because of that. Not that that can't happen locally, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do that. But this is real. They want to take zoning away from the townships. And if we use Amherst Township as an example to try and say township zoning is the reason for the high cost of housing, that's baloney. I'd like to use a stronger word to describe that. We've got 2 manufactured homes in our township. We changed our zoning to allow conservation development that gives some incentives to builders. We added mixed use type zoning, TAR zoning. We've gone through quite a bit at quite a bit of an expense and the updates over time. And we realize there's always going to be some conflict because any development that comes in is typically the existing property owners are going to voice concerns and many times objections. They want things to stay the way they are. But we recognize property owners' rights. We listen to all sides, and then we make what we think is a reasonable and logical decisions. But I still think we're best, and I'm sure Dave and Denny share this, is that the locals are in a better position to make those decisions than some bureaucrat down in Columbus. But right now, I'd make darn sure you contact our local reps on this and voice your opinion before this gets taken away from us. You've also got, there's a document in here from the Lorraine County Bicentennial Committee, and they want every one of the 34 communities to plant a bicentennial tree, where they will provide a plaque for that tree also. So we need to let them know quickly where we want to locate that tree, and they make suggestions at your town hall or in the various parks. And so you know what a Coosa dogwood is. There is a video that Georgianne's going to start here. It's just a 2-minute video. You can start that, Georgianne. This might influence where it gets location.
Hello, my hungry horticulturalist. I'm your plantologist, Archie Warner. The tree you are discovering today is the Coosa dogwood. And now that you've had a chance to read up on its basics, I'm going to shine some sunlight on what really makes this tree so great. The Coosa dogwood is also known as a Chinese dogwood, and when compared to traditional flowering dogwoods, there are a few similarities but many differences. First of all, the Coosa blooms much longer than ordinary dogwoods, and at a time when few other trees are in flower. These dramatic flowers develop in early summer and have large off-white petals with a round greenish center. After its flower display comes to an end, its healthy green leaves that tend to grow in layers provides a graceful and delicate look in the garden. Then, late in the year, the Coosa dogwood displays small, rounded red fruit high in its canopy that contrasts nicely with its green leaves. This exhibit is unique but short-lived because the sweet fruits are favored by many birds and other wildlife. As winter draws near, the Coosa dogwood offers one more surprise as its leaves turn to vibrant colors of dark red and burgundy. After its leaves fall to the ground, you get the best view of its remarkable trunk structure. With age, the Coosa dogwood's bark starts to exfoliate off in small sections, revealing unexpected colors of tan, copper, green, and brown. The Coosa dogwood also tends to be a little tougher than traditional dogwoods, with the ability to withstand sunnier and windier sites. With that being said, it's important to know that the Coosa dogwood is still a tender tree and needs ideal site conditions to thrive. These conditions include well-drained but moist, fertile soil. The Coosa performs very poorly in wet clays and shows tremendous stress when planted on sandy sites. This dogwood also benefits with protection from winter winds to reduce branch desiccation. With its graceful look, the Coosa dogwood demands attention within our gardens and is best when used close to patios and walkways to enjoy its beauty up close. Well, so long, my hungry horticulturalist, and as always, if you would ever like more help, please never hesitate to ask.
Okay, Georgianne, if you can show our park site as it is today. And I just want to mention a few things here. The document that we received from the county indicates that these grow up to 30 feet. This particular one from one of the nurseries indicates they're 20 feet, so somewhere between there. But some of the key issues is that it is good in this growing area and temperature zone. Definitely, if you heard, was avoid cold, windy areas, particularly the cold winds if they come out of the west. Also, it needs to be well-drained, non-sandy soil. And it's okay to put them near walkways because they're not going to have the root structures that you might see, such as in a silver maple, that tend to lift the walkways. So the proposal is, I don't know if you can see it here, there's two locations on the map, location A and then location B. You can see these are the open areas in the conserved section of the park. We have the walkway would go on both sides of that, so you got the one along the fence that she's showing now, and then you got the one that goes through the middle part of the wooded area. And our road crew has it where that open grassy area, they do not have to cut that every week or as frequently as they do in the other areas. That was part of this, that it would save the time and the costs, things as far as fuel and whatnot, of cutting that every single week as we do in the soccer and baseball fields. But those two locations, as far as everything we heard, are good. You're aware up where on the ridge is sandy soil, but as you get down there toward the bottom of the park, that's more of a loamy soil there. It is well drained in that area that we have right now. Just by cutting that occasionally, we keep the brush so that that stays an open meadow area for, and I'm sure if you walk down there, you'll see all the different birds and wildlife that are in that section. But with those two little cutouts, that would be the ideal protection for this type of plant that, I believe would do well. But it's a matter of the trustees and our road superintendent, since he's got to do the maintenance, is which spot you'd want to put it, or if there's some other location you want to put this particular dogwood. I like where B is because it comes close to the two walking paths, and then we could temporarily, if they give us this plaque, it wouldn't be a whole lot of work for our road department to cut it out and put in a strong, just a stone base that could cut between those two walking paths right there. We would have to be cautious because I believe that's the section where there is the underground conduit for the potential eventual extension of the lights that Mr. Bemis was just asking about that go along the fence line there up to Workshop Players in our cemetery. But the proposal from the Bicentennial Committee, these would all come from Don Molds, and Don Molds would do the planting. We just need to tell him where we want it. So with that, I'll open it up. David, which, you want one of those or somewhere else you'd like to put this particular tree?
That's fine. I think the one on the south place, I
Okay.
think that would be a good place. I think you'd get good view from different angles on it.
Okay. Denny, do you?
No, I don't have any preference.
Okay. Well, Chris, is this, since it's a county request, is this something we can just have you take to them and say, we're going to take position B?
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever information you can give me, it'll go.
Okay, and I'll forward that to you because since, we just received this yesterday, I first just got it together so the trustees would all see it. I didn't have the map up with the location, so I'll send that to you and we'll just let them know, spot it in B. And Kevin, you'll be the contact for the actual location, letting them know there's probably an underground conduit there, so they may have to peck away at it. Okay. All right. Okay, and ambulance, there's nothing new other than when the next meeting is going to be on May 2nd at the Amherst Fire Station at 4:00 p.m. And they have been sending out what the current runs are and the timing and experience there. I am going to go to zoning. Before I get to Sam, though, I've got a couple of things to take care of here. There's two resolutions. The first one, which should have been in the packet last meeting but wasn't, is to the approval of the Ohio Edison street lighting request and information agreement to install 13 high-pressure sodium colonial posts, top 9,500 lumen lights with 100-watt, and the associated equipment on the eastern portion of Sandstone Parkway. There is an agreement here, and David, the resolution structured where either that I can sign it or you can sign it as the trustee responsible for lighting, whatever your pleasure is. The cost of the township will be the $722 a month per fixture. The actual installation cost that'll be paid by the developer is $73,647. So that'll be the 722 times 13, which is a total of $1,126.32 annually in terms of the township's cost. And that'll be ongoing for, the life of this contract, and as Ohio Edison gets the authority to increase those monthly costs.
So you making that motion?
Yeah, I'm making the motion to approve this street lighting request and information agreement.
Okay, I'll second that resolution.
Is there any discussion?
Lynch,
Yes.
Abraham,
Yes.
Erie,
Yes.
31124.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay, and the next item under zoning is reconsider resolution 3424, authorizing a memorandum of understanding for the construction of 3 model homes in the 4 Seasons at Sandstone subdivision. If the trustees recall, we approved this MOU at the last meeting. At that time, the expectation was that Lorraine County Board of Commissioners was going to enter into this MOU also. My understanding is they did not get it on their agenda, but after discussion among county personnel, they've determined that it's not necessary for them to enter in this MOU, that only the township needs to do that because it is, they consider it a zoning issue, which is fine. So the only difference in this MOU that we approved at the last meeting is we are taking out the county as a partner, just so the trustees are aware, and Sam, our zoning inspector, and you can pass this on to Linda, our township administrator, when you guys see each other in the morning. But it caused a little confusion to me because we've already entered in the MOU. The township agrees to allow these 3 model homes to go forward. It's actually county personnel that seem to be issuing stop work orders and having a little bit of heartburn over it, but now they've determined they don't have to be a party to it. So we'll take them out and let it go, but Sam's been aware of this, and he knows that until he gets a sewer permit, which won't happen until the plat's done, he's not issuing a zoning permit, but he's certainly not holding up the beginning of these model homes so that during this construction season, it just allows the businesses to keep on moving along and keep the people that are employed there working. So again, that's the only change, is that the county has been removed as a party to this MOU. So I'm going to make the motion to reconsider Resolution 3424, authorizing the Memorandum of Understanding for construction of 3 model homes in the 4 seasons at Sandstone, and essentially just removing the county as a party.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Just, I think I stated before last meeting that there are procedures in place, and I don't think we should punching holes in them. I think that for our security and for the betterment of the township, I think we should follow the procedure when the plat's filed and permits be issued.
Okay. And I appreciate that, David, but I think that's the very reason we've got the Ohio Housing Select Committee looking and taking zoning away from townships. And I think I explained to you at the last meeting when I attended the OTA conference this year, is one of the sessions that in the training was how your township should be open for business. This is one of the examples they used, and I think we're showing we are open for business. We constantly throw up obstructions that make it more difficult and drive up the cost. Somebody's got to pay those costs. They get passed on. So I don't see where this inhibits anything in terms of checks and balances, because until Sam issues a zoning permit, which can't happen until the sanitary is connected, nobody can occupy that home. All this does is this is standard project management, allowing the types of activities that can be done concurrently to be done concurrently to keep both your overall timeline and your cost at a minimum. So it's, having done an awful lot of project work myself in my career, I can certainly understand why this would be asked for, and I will support it. So if there's nothing else, Chris, roll call.
Lynch?
Yes.
Abraham?
Yes.
Urick?
No.
A mistake, David. I marked you a yes already. Is that what's the number on that, Chris?
31224.
31224. And John Evanson is here from the developer. They have to sign this revised MOU. And John, I've got 2 copies here. You can sign it, but you also need Cahoe to sign that. If you can return one to the township after that's been completed. Yeah. I'm not coming down there.
I wouldn't want you to do that, Nancy. Take care of your arm. Anyways, what I wanted to mention to you, I noticed that there was one word up here that was Bill County, and that it was supposed to be removed. They didn't remove that. So this is the same document, but I removed the county.
Where's?
Right here, this is county.
The township county.
That was supposed to be taken out.
Oh, I got you.
I brought you a copy that has it removed.
Okay.
We can just swap them.
Yeah. You got the signature page?
I do here, I can sign it, I haven't signed it yet. And I did speak with Representative Cavanian, they said they could sign it tonight, so I would text you, email you guys back.
I was running all over the place trying to get an answer today.
Well, as I mentioned to Neil, it's a tough crew at the county.
I was just like, okay.
David, how are you doing tonight? I saw you the other day, I appreciate the words you had to say about the project. Certainly, somehow it's going to start producing some loot.
As long as we can get the numbers from the county, and
Absolutely.
like pulling teeth to get the info we need.
Okay.
That was in the top first
No,
paragraph,
these ones
right?
have the county.
Yes.
That was in the first paragraph?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I found it.
Last sentence.
Yes, right where you got it.
Gotcha.
So I'll get this signed up and I'll just email it back to you.
Right.
If that's okay.
Yep, that'd be fine.
I appreciate your time tonight, guys.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Okay, Sam, you're on for the rest of zoning.
Okay, as you can see, not a lot going permit-wise by the logs I gave you. I have two complaints that I can think of. Mr. Barkhart, next to Alpha Dog, had some complaints. I called him and pretty much told him the same thing I told him last year, that we can't get involved, or aren't going to. Rusty Nagy and Annette Blackshire, the lighting, the glare, the new lights. After a couple visits, I got them to finally work things out amongst each other, and they seem to both be happy. So that's done. And that's the only one I can think of. I don't think we have any more pressing
Okay.
complaints.
Very good. Any questions for Sam?
No, I have no questions for him.
And other than, though I think you're still waiting on details you shared with me, you may have an informal presentation at the next zoning commission meeting from someone.
Ben Shigo, am I saying that right, I think? He's going to come, he has some questions, and we kind of don't know what it is. He's thinking about a project, the west of 58, right?
Okay.
But we'll see. He's going to be at the next zoning meeting and be asking questions.
Okay.
I really don't have any information.
Where is this at?
Neil Price, be west of 58 and north of the Turnpike, right? Am I in the right area?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's I guess Slyman owns the property now.
Okay.
It's a good-sized property. It's half GB1, well, maybe not half, but part GB1 and part RAG.
Very close to the turnpike?
Yeah, it's right there, isn't it? From where we looked on
It
the
looks
map.
like, yeah, it's just going to be north of the turnpike, east side of 58, but.
Yeah,
beyond
I'm
that,
sorry,
we
I
don't
said
have
west,
any-
yes, you're right.
Yeah, we don't have any details
No.
because you weren't sent anything.
Yeah,
You know, that would have been more helpful. But again, being an informal, well, here, it's just letting people know because there's nothing that we're aware of in terms of any site plan review or zoning amendments on the agenda.
I don't even know what
So
he's
this
thinking.
is just one of those things that came up, and probably good that there isn't something else on the agenda, because it'll make for a long night.
And I let Lonnie Dillon know that, just to give him a heads up that somebody's going to be there asking some
Okay.
questions. I think that's
Okay.
good enough for now.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sam. Fire prevention is in here. Parks, roads, and cemetery, Superintendent Smarsh.
I don't have too much. Everything pretty much regular is going on with all maintenance. We've been on potholes, and we ended up the other day getting underneath the porch next door and getting that backfilled for water displacement from that east wall.
Okay.
So that's good to go, and this morning would have been a good test to see how it goes. I'm going to actually contact Dylan this evening here, once we get out of here, see how that ended up working out.
Okay, good, yeah. Hopefully everything was good. And then I assume the truck is on order?
Yes?
That's still expecting August delivery, as far as you know?
Yes?
Okay.
Yep. I'll contact Tom Lewis and get a complete update. But the last time I talked to him was a couple weeks ago, and it was still, all the same schedule.
Okay. And then as far as this bicentennial tree, it'll probably be Don Molds that actually contacts you when they're ready to plant them.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Anyone else have any questions for
No,
Kevin?
I don't.
Not right now.
All right, well, everything we needed to cover has been covered. If we can, for those that have specific response, oh, we didn't get the complaint, sorry about that. Let me go back to complaints. See, we know the first one, that's just being held open. All right, Sam, the property maintenance there on Broadway.
340 Broadway?
Yep,
Yeah, it's already been done, we just haven't been paid for it yet.
wait for the reimbursement, okay.
Yes.
David, the street light on Old Middle Ridge and Dewey.
I sent notice by email to the party and, of our consensus that the board that we would not put a light at that intersection.
So I can
Traffic
close
volume
that one
and,
then.
yeah, you can take that one off now. Traffic volume and lack of accidents.
And the next one we know won't come up again until the summer, and that's if the landscaper, are they or aren't they bringing their
Borns?
lawn cuttings in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll just wait and see, because obviously there's no problem now.
Like I said, the health department went out there a couple times, and they did give them some restrictions, so they're supposed to be following some sort of plan. So they'll be checking up on them as well.
Okay, thanks, Sam. And then the street lights that are out there in the valley, David, I don't know if there's any update on that.
No, I'll contact Ohio Edison. I'm thinking that over. I think, accept their recommendation to move the lights, I think we'll be okay. As far as that goes, I know Trails End light is not on the side of the road and other places. But that would make maintenance in the long term easier because the service lines would be entirely in the right of way. And there wouldn't be a question of having to access the rear of someone's property through an easement.
Okay, all right. So I'll just leave that open then until that's resolved. And then
Yes.
the next one, this Mr. Bemis already mentioned, he had contacted the township with a complaint about the park lights, and we know what's going on there. So I'll just leave that open till that's completed.
Yeah.
So now I'll go to the unfinished business that everybody's got specific responsibility. Is there anything to bring up before the board this evening?
No, I have nothing.
David, did you want to address, you attended the Turk meeting?
Yes, yes. And the county had no information. The
Let Chris know this is for the
Yeah, what's a Turk?
TIF on Hampshire Farms.
Turk, Tax Incentive Review. Yes, this is on the TIF for the Hampshire Farms. And county had no information as to what's been collected on the property so far, as far as new taxes, nor what the final amount is that has to be paid up back by the TIF money. The only thing, Mr. Evanson was there and stated that 50 of 51 lots have been sold. There's one lot left. That's what we knew already. Nothing new, and that the county was to get back to us with some information on the figures, but they haven't so far.
Okay. And Chris, so you're aware, when David gets the information back from the county, he's going to send out an email and share that also with Amherst Exempted Village School Superintendent and Treasurer, because all of us, we received notice. I forget, David, it was just a couple days before the meeting. It was very short notice, and the county asked the communities, meaning us, to notify your school board superintendent and treasurer, which was an odd way of doing things. And fortunately, we had their contact information, but they were already committed to another meeting, and they just asked that we share whatever information we learn. And as David's just mentioned, the information we specifically requested to have available at the meeting by email wasn't available. So until he gets that, there's really nothing to say other than what we already knew. 51 of 50, we only got one home left to sell. And so we need to know how much money they've collected, how much they anticipate collecting annually, when that TIF's going to be paid off.
That was the other thing they found. See if I can find that figure. Yes, okay. The original estimate was $255,000 per home, and so far the average has been $344,000 per home. 17,590,000 in taxable sales.
What was it again, David? 17?
1,590,000 taxable, property taxable. The prices are up, so that would mean that
That
the
was
tax
market.
generated should be more, and hopefully that will pay off the amount owed sooner. That's my thoughts.
Right. And it had nothing to do with township zoning.
No, it didn't.
People paid a lot more than the developer originally thought they would. Okay, thanks, David. All right, is there any other business?
No, sir.
Okay, our next regular meeting will be at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, April 9th. Kevin, is there any need for a work session between then and now? Okay. Any other audience concerns? Seeing none. Any need for an executive session? All right, then can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move?
Second,
Euring,
Yes.
Abraham,
yes.
Lynch.
Yes.